Hello everybody and welcome to this Premodern video. This is part of a series where we unveil all the secrets about this beautiful format. Today I want to talk about this new deck that I built about 1 year ago and I called Sneak Attack. This deck is not part of the metagame and was designed from scratch about 1 year ago. It is intended to be consistent, but also fresh and unique in the format. Sneak Attack has a pretty straightforward game plan. It builds up defenses and ramps in the early game, especially thanks to the Sunscape Familiar, which is an incredible accelerator in Premodern. Our win condition will be accessible as soon as turn 5 or 6, and we are full of unconventional and unpredictable spells to interact with the board. Ideally, we want to play a lot of walls during the first turns of the game to stay protected from aggro decks. Our defense will also most likely stay on the board quite long, since walls are generally not perceived as a big threat. As soon as we enter the mid game, we will have plenty of removals to interfere with the opponent. The core of the strategy is to play some recursions and bounce spells, which can either target the opponent to slow down its game plan, or we can use on our own creatures to generate more card advantage. This is not a common mechanics in Premodern, and some of these spells are really unpredictable. The most iconic for sure is the Mystic Snake, a creature that you can play at instant speed and works as well as a counter. These spells are especially effective if we have on the battlefield at least one familiar to make them really cheap compared with their effect. As beatdown, we can pick our favorite cards from 3 different colors, so there are plenty of options. When you make your choice, remember that green and blue spells enter the battlefield faster thanks to the familiar. I personally choose the Iridescent Angel, which is one of the strongest creatures in the format and can finish the game very quickly. We can also use Phantom Nishoba, which we can decide to bounce back to our hand if we want to play it again with full power. As we play white, green and blue, obviously these colors have the best counters and removal in the format, and it's a wise choice to use them. Remember that we can always diminish the uncolored mana cost, and this will have a massive effect when we counter for 1 mana. For the mana base, as we are a 3 colors deck, we have to necessarily introduce the Pain Lands to keep up with the game pace. Another option would be to use the Gemstone Mine to avoid the life loss and bounce it back to our hand with the Treva's Ruin. If you like this mechanic, be aware that when you play the Ruins, you are basically losing a land drop, and this will slow down the overall game. The sideboard for this deck has a very wide range of options, all very solid and effective. I personally tend to choose stack spells or increase the number of removals, and if you want, you can include more white protections. This deck is definitely mid-range. We don't have proper combos, even if there are a lot of synergies between our single spells. Overall, the game plan is solid and responds well to different threats. You can easily adjust these 60 cards based on your preferences. Anyway, we have to pay attention on how we build our mana base, as this can affect our game pace and we really start to speed up only once we have the familiar in place. All in all, I give this deck a solid 7. It can easily fit in the tier 2 of the current meta, and I had a pretty fair matchup against most of the decks that I tested so far. This is a sample deck for you. Let me know what you think about this deck. And that's it for today. See you soon again.